Why do some guys watch their partner talk to someone else and feel fine, while you feel like your chest is caving in? Same situation, totally different reactions. The difference isn't confidence. It's not your childhood. It's what you're demanding in your head. And those demands are destroying you. I'm Albert Ellis, and I've spent my entire career studying exactly why you do this. And more importantly, how you stop. Here's what you're getting today. First, I'll show you the exact thought patterns creating your jealousy. Not theories, the actual sentences running through your head. Second, you'll learn my ABC method that thousands of men have used to break the jealous cycle. Third, I'll give you practical tools you can use tonight. By the end of this, you'll understand why you've been suffering, and you'll know exactly how to stop. This isn't feel-good advice. This is clinical psychology that works. So let me start by telling you the biggest lie about jealousy that you keep believing. Most guys think their partner's behavior causes their jealousy. Your girlfriend talks to another guy, and boom, you feel jealous. She posts a photo on social media, some dude comments on it, and boom, you're miserable. You think the event caused the feeling. That's completely wrong. And until you understand why it's wrong, you're going to stay stuck. I call this the ABC model, and it's going to change everything for you. A stands for activating event. That's the thing that happens in the real world. Your partner talks to another guy. That's A. C stands for consequence. That's what you feel. Jealousy, anxiety, anger. That's C. Now here's what you believe. You believe it causes C. The event causes the feeling. But there's a B in between that you're completely missing. B stands for belief. That's what you're telling yourself about the event. And B is what actually creates C. Let me break this down even more simply. Your girlfriend talks to some guy at a party. That's the activating event, A. You feel like you're dying inside. That's the consequence, C. But what happened at B? What did you tell yourself? You probably told yourself something like, she shouldn't be talking to him. She must only pay attention to me. This means she doesn't love me. If she loved me, she wouldn't do this. That's B. That's your belief. And that belief is what created your jealous feeling, not her talking to the guy. How do I know this? Because I can show you another guy in the exact same situation who doesn't feel jealous at all. Same party, same girlfriend behavior, different guy. He sees his girlfriend talking to someone and he thinks, oh good, she's having fun. She's social. That's one of the things I love about her. Same A, different B, different C. See what I'm saying? The event didn't cause the feeling. Your interpretation of the event caused the feeling. Your belief about what it means caused the feeling. And here's the problem. As long as you believe the event causes your feeling, you're powerless. You can't control other people. You can't control what happens in the world. So you're just a victim waiting for the next thing to upset you. But once you realize that your belief creates your feeling, now you have power. Because you can change your beliefs. You can't always change events, but you can always change how you think about events. Now let me tell you about the specific type of belief that creates jealousy. It's called a demand. You're not preferring that your partner behaves a certain way. You're demanding it absolutely. There's a huge difference. A preference sounds like this. I would prefer that she focus her attention on me. I like it when she does that. It makes me happy. That's a preference. That's healthy. A demand sounds like this. She must only pay attention to me. She has to make me her priority. She absolutely should not talk to other guys. That's a demand. That's irrational. Why is it irrational? Because where's the law of the universe that says she must behave how you want? There isn't one. You're essentially saying reality has to bend to your wishes. And when reality doesn't bend, when she talks to someone else, you freak out. Not because of what she did, but because she violated your demand. You're upset that the world isn't following your rules. And here's what's really crazy. Every time you practice this, you get better at being jealous. You're literally training yourself to be more jealous. The event happens. You interpret it as terrible because it violated your demand. You feel awful. And now your brain has learned, when this happens, we feel awful. So the next time it happens, you feel awful even faster. You're becoming an expert at making yourself miserable. Other men in identical situations don't feel jealous. Your buddy sees his girlfriend talking to someone, doesn't bother him at all. Why? Different belief system. He's not demanding. He's preferring. He'd like her attention, but he doesn't need it. He's not saying she must behave a certain way. So when she doesn't, he's fine. Same activating event, different belief, different emotion. This proves that the event isn't the problem. Your demand is the problem. Now you might be thinking, okay, Albert, so I have irrational beliefs. So what? How does knowing that help me when I'm feeling like crap? Good question. Let me show you the 3 specific demands you're making that create all that misery. Demand number 1 is this. She must behave exactly as I want. This is what I call masturbation. You're masturbating with the word must. She must never look at another man. She must always make me her priority. She must prove her love the way I need her to prove it. You're demanding perfection from another human being. And here's the reality check. She's a separate person with her own life, her own thoughts, her own freedom. Your demand doesn't change her. It only tortures you. Let me be clear about the difference. I prefer that she prioritizes me. That's fine. That's healthy. You can have preferences, but she must prioritize me or else. That's crazy. That's irrational. Because why must she? Because you want her to? That's not a good enough reason. The universe doesn't revolve around what you want, and demanding that it does is a recipe for constant suffering. Demand number 2 is even worse. If she doesn't comply with my demands, I'm worthless. This is where jealousy turns into self-hatred. You're not just upset that she's talking to someone else. You're taking it as evidence that you're inadequate. If she finds another guy attractive, it means I'm not good enough. Her attention to others proves I'm worthless. Do you see what you're doing? You're rating your entire human worth based on her behavior. That's insane. This is what I call global self-rating. You're taking one aspect of your life, your relationship, and using it to judge your entire value as a human being. That's one of the most destructive thinking patterns I've ever seen. And I've seen it thousands of times. Your worth as a person isn't determined by anyone's attention or approval. Not hers. Not anyone's. You're making her behavior mean something about your core value. That's complete horseshit. Demand number 3 is what I call awfulizing. You're taking a situation and making it more than 100% bad. This situation is absolutely awful. If she leaves me, I couldn't stand it. This uncertainty is unbearable. I'll be destroyed forever. Really? You couldn't stand it? If she left you right now, would you die? No. You'd be alive. You'd be uncomfortable. You'd be sad. But you'd be standing it. Because stand it means survive it. And you'd survive. This is unbearable? You're bearing it right now. Right this second, you're bearing the uncertainty. It's uncomfortable, yes. But unbearable means you can't bear it. And clearly you can because you are. I'll be destroyed forever? No, you won't. You'll be uncomfortable temporarily. Maybe for weeks or months. But not forever. And not destroyed. Uncomfortable. There's a huge difference between discomfort and disaster. Learn it. Now here's how these 3 demands work together to create your hell. The first demand creates the jealous feeling. She must behave how I want. She doesn't. You feel jealous. The second demand creates shame and worthlessness. Her not complying means I'm inadequate. Now you feel jealous and worthless. The third demand creates panic and desperation. This is unbearable and awful. Now you feel jealous, worthless, and panicked. That's the perfect storm of misery. And you created all of it with your demands. You're demanding perfection from reality, then rating yourself as worthless when you don't get it, then deciding it's the worst thing that could ever happen. Of course you feel terrible. Anyone would feel terrible with that belief system. But here's the good news. You don't have to believe those things. You can change your beliefs. And when you change your beliefs, your feelings change automatically. All right, so now you're probably sitting there thinking, well, that sounds right, Albert, but what the hell do I do about it? That's exactly what I'm going to show you next. This is where it gets practical. You have to actively dispute your irrational beliefs. This isn't positive thinking. I'm not telling you to look in a mirror and say I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. That's garbage. I'm talking about rational thinking. You challenge your thoughts the way a scientist tests a hypothesis. You look for evidence. You use logic. You ask hard questions. First step is catching the irrational belief in action. You feel jealousy rising up. That's your signal. Right there, stop. Don't just react to the feeling. Ask yourself, What am I telling myself right now? What's the thought behind this feeling? Most guys never do this step. They just feel jealous and react. They check the phone, they get controlling, they seek reassurance. But the thought is there. It happens fast, but it's there. Catch it. Write it down if you can. She must not talk to him. If she does, it means I'm not good enough. This is terrible. Now you got the thought. Now you dispute it. I use 4 questions. Question 1. Where's the evidence for this belief? What does it say she must behave how I want? Show me the law. Show me the rule book. Where's the proof that her talking to someone means I'm worthless? There isn't any proof. Because it's not true. You made it up. Question 2. Is this belief logical? Does her having a conversation with someone logically mean she doesn't love me? No, that doesn't follow. People in loving relationships talk to other people all the time. Does one behavior determine my entire worth as a human? That's absurd. My worth is way more complex than that. This belief doesn't hold up to logical scrutiny. Question 3. Is this belief helpful? Is believing this making me feel better or worse? Obviously worse. Is it helping my relationship or hurting it? It's hurting it. When I believe this, I act jealous and controlling. That pushes her away. So this belief isn't just irrational, it's also counterproductive. It's creating the exact outcome I'm afraid of. Question 4. What would be a more rational belief? This is where you create the alternative. The old belief was, she must only pay attention to me or I'm worthless. The new belief is, I prefer her attention, but I don't need it to be worthwhile. I'm uncomfortable when she talks to others, but I'm still a valuable person. I can handle discomfort. See the difference? The new belief is accurate. It's logical, and it's helpful. Now here's the key. You have to repeat this new belief forcefully. Multiple times. Out loud if you can. I prefer her attention, but don't need it. I'm worthwhile regardless. I can handle this discomfort. You're not lying to yourself. You're being honest for the first time. The old belief was the lie. The new belief is the truth. But your brain is used to the lie. So you have to practice the truth until it becomes automatic. Let me give you a real example from my practice. I had this guy, successful businessman, made great money, good-looking, smart. But he was checking his wife's phone 10 times a day. He was miserable. She was miserable. His belief was, if she's texting other men, even friends, it means she's going to leave me. And if she leaves me, I'm nothing. I taught him to dispute. Where's the evidence she's leaving you? There isn't any. She comes home every night. She says she loves you. You're inventing a story. Is your belief logical? No. People can have friends and still be committed. Is it helpful? Hell no. It's destroying your marriage. What's more rational? I prefer she focuses on me, but she's allowed to have a life. Her texting a friend doesn't mean she's leaving. My worth isn't dependent on her staying. He practiced this dispute every single day. First 100 times felt mechanical. He didn't believe it, but he kept doing it. And you know what happened? 3 weeks later, the jealousy dropped by half. 2 months later, he barely felt it. He stopped checking her phone. Their marriage improved. Same wife, same situation, different belief system, different results. Now here's where most guys screw this up. They learn how to dispute their thoughts, but they still do behavioral stuff that keeps the jealousy alive. Let me tell you what you need to stop doing immediately. Checking behaviors feed the beast. Looking through her phone, stalking her social media, tracking her location. Every time you check, you're sending a message to your brain. You're saying, I need to know or I can't handle this. This reinforces the belief that uncertainty is unbearable. And here's the paradox. Checking gives you temporary relief. You look, you see nothing bad, you feel better for an hour. Then the anxiety comes back even stronger. So you need to check again and again. You're teaching your brain that you can't tolerate not knowing. The more you check, the more you'll need to check. But here's the reality. You can tolerate not knowing. You just don't want to. There's a difference. Can't means impossible. Don't want to means uncomfortable, but possible. You can absolutely handle not knowing what she's doing every minute. You just have to prove it to yourself by not checking. Controlling behaviors make everything worse. Telling her who she can talk to, what she can wear, where she can go. You think this makes you look strong? It makes you look weak. It communicates, I don't trust you and I'm insecure. That's not attractive. That pushes people away. And here's the other problem. Every time you try to control her, you're reinforcing your belief that you need control to be okay. You're telling yourself, I can't handle her freedom. I need to restrict her to feel safe. That's giving away all your power. The truth is you can't control another person. You never could, and you don't need to. Real strength is tolerating her freedom without freaking out. Real confidence is knowing you'll be okay, even if she chooses to leave. When you try to control her, you're admitting you can't handle uncertainty. You're advertising your weakness. Reassurance seeking is a trap. Do you love me? Are you attracted to him? Would you ever leave me? The first few times she reassures you, you feel better for an hour. Then you need it again, and again, more frequently. You're becoming addicted to reassurance like it's a drug. And she gets exhausted, and you get more anxious. It's a downward spiral. The need for constant reassurance proves you don't believe in your own worth. You're outsourcing your emotional stability to her responses. That's no way to live. So what do you do instead? Exposure and response prevention. That's the technical term. Here's what it means in plain English. Feel the jealous feeling without acting on it. She talks to a guy. You notice jealousy rising. You do nothing. Don't check. Don't control. Don't seek reassurance. Just sit with the discomfort. This is hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really hard at first. But here's what happens. The feeling peaks. Then it naturally decreases. Every single time. Feelings are like waves. They rise, they peak, they fall. But you've been interrupting the process by acting on the feeling before it can decrease naturally. When you sit with the discomfort, you teach your brain something new. You teach it, I can handle this feeling without acting. The feeling isn't dangerous. It's just uncomfortable, and I can tolerate uncomfortable. You're building emotional tolerance like you build muscle. You have to stress it to strengthen it. Start small. She goes out with friends. You feel the urge to text her every 10 minutes. Resist for 1 hour. Just 1 hour. Then 2 hours. Then 4. Eventually, the urge to act disappears. I had a client who was checking his girlfriend's phone 20 times a day. I told him to go cold turkey. Stop checking completely. He thought he'd die. He didn't die. His anxiety dropped 80% in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Because he proved to himself he could handle not knowing. Okay, so you're disputing your thoughts and changing your behaviors. Good. But there's still one massive thing we need to address. And this might be the most important part. Your entire relationship with yourself. The root of jealousy is conditional self-worth. You believe you're only valuable if your partner behaves certain ways. If she pays attention only to you, you're worthwhile. If she doesn't, you're worthless. Your value goes up and down like a stock price based on her behavior. That's crazy, and that's what's really torturing you. You're treating yourself like a product being evaluated. If she loves me, I'm valuable. If she doesn't, I'm worthless. This is insane. Your worth isn't on the stock market. You're a living, breathing human being with inherent worth. Nobody gets to determine your value. Not even you. But you keep rating yourself based on performance. Relationships. Success. Approval. And this creates emotional instability. You're only as good as your last one. Let me explain the difference between rating yourself and accepting yourself. Rating yourself sounds like this. I'm good or bad based on my achievements or others' opinions. If I succeed, I'm good. If I fail, I'm bad. If she loves me, I'm valuable. If she doesn't, I'm worthless. That's rating, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. Accepting yourself sounds like this. I'm a fallible human being who sometimes succeeds and sometimes fails. My worth isn't determined by outcomes. I'm valuable simply because I exist. I can rate my behaviors. That was a stupid thing I did, but I can't rate my essence. I am stupid. That's too global. That's not accurate. You have to separate what you do from who you are. Your relationship status doesn't define you. Her choices don't define you. If she leaves tomorrow, you're still the same person you were yesterday. Your worth is a given, not something you earn or lose. But you've been living like your worth is conditional. And that's why jealousy has so much power over you. Think about it. If your worth depends on her exclusive attention, you'll panic when she gives attention elsewhere. You've made her behavior the measurement of your value. That's giving her way too much power over your emotional life. You become desperate to control her to maintain your sense of worth. The jealousy is actually self-protection. You're not really afraid of losing her. You're afraid of the meaning you'll assign to losing her. You're afraid of deciding you're worthless if she leaves. So how do you practice unconditional self-acceptance? First, daily affirmations. And I don't mean Stuart Smalley nonsense. I mean rational statements. I'm a fallible human being. I don't need anyone's approval to be worthwhile. My relationship status doesn't determine my value. I can handle disappointment and still be okay. Say these out loud every morning. 2 minutes. That's it. When jealousy hits, remind yourself. Her talking to him says nothing about my worth. I prefer her attention, but I don't need it to be valuable. I'm worthy even if this relationship ends. These aren't lies. These are facts. But your brain doesn't believe them yet because you've been practicing the opposite for years. So practice these truths until they become automatic. Here's another practice. Fail at small things and accept yourself anyway. Burn your toast. Notice you're still a worthwhile person. Get rejected somewhere. Notice you're still alive and okay. Someone disagrees with you. Notice your worth doesn't change. You're teaching yourself that your value is stable regardless of external outcomes. This is foundational. And here's the freedom this creates. When you accept yourself unconditionally, jealousy loses its power. You stop needing to control her because her behavior doesn't threaten you anymore. You can prefer her loyalty without demanding it desperately. And ironically, you become more attractive because you're not needy. You're not desperate. You're confident in your own worth. That's attractive. There's a paradox here. Accepting you don't need her attention makes her more likely to give it. Demanding her attention pushes her away. When you're emotionally stable within yourself, people want to be around you. When you're a black hole of need, people run. So unconditional self-acceptance isn't just good for you. It's good for your relationship. I've built my entire therapeutic approach around this. It's the foundation of rational emotive behavior therapy. Unconditional self-acceptance. You're worthwhile, period. Not because you're perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody is. But because you're a living, breathing human being. That's enough. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to prove it. You just have to accept it. Now let me give you something practical to do with all this. Because if you leave here just understanding this intellectually, you'll be right back where you started in a week. Here's your action plan. Your 30-day jealousy freedom plan. Week 1 is awareness and detection. Your only goal this week is to catch every jealous thought before you act on it. Carry a small notebook or use your phone notes. Every time you feel jealous, write down 3 things. The situation. That's A, the activating event. The thought. That's B, your belief. And the feeling. That's C, the consequence. Don't try to change anything yet. Just observe. You're building awareness of your patterns. Most guys discover they have the same 3 or 4 irrational beliefs on repeat. She must only focus on me. If she doesn't, I'm worthless. This is unbearable. Same thoughts over and over. By the end of week 1, you'll see your patterns clearly. You'll know exactly what you're telling yourself. That's step 1. Week 2 is disputing practice. Your goal this week is to challenge every irrational belief you catch. When jealousy appears, run through the 4 dispute questions. Where's the evidence? Is it logical? Is it helpful? What's more rational? Write out your rational alternative. Do this every single time. No exceptions. Keep a rational responses list on your phone to reference. I prefer her focus, but she's free to talk to others. This discomfort is temporary, not dangerous. Her behavior doesn't determine my worth. By end of week 2, disputes should take 30 seconds instead of 5 minutes. You're building a new habit. Week 3 is behavioral change. This is the hardest week. Your goal is to stop all checking, controlling, and reassurance-seeking behaviors. Cold turkey. You'll feel like you're dying. You're not dying. You're just uncomfortable. When the urge to check her phone appears, sit with it for 10 minutes. Usually the urge passes. If you slip up and check, don't beat yourself up. Just restart. Notice something important. The world doesn't end when you don't check. She doesn't suddenly leave because you stop controlling. Your anxiety actually starts decreasing as you prove to yourself you can handle uncertainty. Week 4 is self-acceptance consolidation. Your goal is to internalize your worth independent of the relationship. Morning affirmation, 2 minutes. I'm worthwhile whether she stays or leaves. I can handle discomfort. My value doesn't depend on her attention. Evening reflection, 5 minutes. What situations triggered jealousy today? How did I respond? What did I learn about my worth? Also, do something uncomfortable daily that has nothing to do with relationships. Cold shower. Hard workout. Initiate a conversation with a stranger. You're building general distress tolerance. By end of week 4, jealous feelings should be 50 to 70% reduced. Beyond 30 days is maintenance. This isn't one and done. It's a new lifestyle. Continue disputing irrational thoughts as they appear. They will appear sometimes. Maintain boundaries on checking and controlling behaviors. Regular self-acceptance practice. Expect setbacks. They're normal. When jealousy spikes again, and it will sometimes, you now have tools. The difference is you'll bounce back in hours or days instead of weeks or months. The goal isn't zero jealousy. The goal is not letting it run your life. I had a client who followed a similar protocol. He tracked his progress every day. Week 1, his jealousy was at a 9 out of 10. Constant thoughts. Checking her phone 5 times a day. Couldn't sleep. Week 2, dropped to a 7. He was catching the thoughts and disputing them. Still checking, but less. Week 3, down to a 5. He stopped checking completely. First few days were hell. Then it got easier. Week 4, down to a 3. Some jealous thoughts, but they passed quickly. He felt in control. 3 months later, he reported jealousy at a 1 or 2. Barely noticeable. Same girlfriend. Same life. Different belief system. Different results. This is like physical therapy. You're doing exercises to create new neural pathways. The old pathways are strong because you've used them for years. The new pathways are weak because they're new. But consistent practice strengthens the new pathways and weakens the old ones. Eventually, the new way of thinking becomes automatic. But you have to do the reps. Nobody can do them for you. All right, let's bring this all together. You've got the knowledge. You've got the plan. Now here's what I want you to remember going forward. Jealousy isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create with irrational beliefs. Those beliefs fall into 3 categories. Demand about your partner's behavior. Demands about your own worth. And awfulizing about how bad things are. She must behave how I want. If she doesn't, I'm worthless. And this is unbearable. That's the formula for misery. The solution isn't positive thinking or breathing exercises. It's rational thinking. You dispute your irrational beliefs with evidence and logic. You stop the behaviors that reinforce those beliefs. The checking, the controlling, the reassurance seeking. And most importantly, you develop unconditional self-acceptance. Your worth as a human being doesn't depend on whether your partner looks at someone else, talks to someone else, or even stays with you. You're worthwhile, period. Not because you're perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody is. But because you're a living, breathing human being. That's enough. Your worth is a given, not something you earn or lose. The 30-day plan I gave you isn't optional if you want results. You can't just understand this intellectually. You have to practice it daily. Week 1, awareness. Week 2, disputing. Week 3, behavior change. Week 4, self-acceptance. Then maintain it for life. This is how you change. Is this easy? Hell no. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Because living in constant jealous misery is no way to live. You deserve better. She deserves better. And you now have the tools to make it better. The choice is yours. You can keep demanding that reality be different. Keep rating yourself based on her behavior. Keep awfulizing every situation. Or you can start thinking rationally, acting differently, and accepting yourself unconditionally. I've seen thousands of guys make this change. Guys who were more jealous than you. Guys who check phones 20 times a day. Guys who couldn't sleep because of jealous thoughts. Guys who almost destroyed their relationships with their controlling behavior. If they can do it, you can do it. So stop making excuses and start doing the work. Remember this. You're not broken. You're just thinking crazy thoughts. And crazy thoughts can be changed with rational thoughts. Stop demanding. Start preferring. Stop rating yourself. Start accepting yourself. Stop awfulizing. Start tolerating. Do the work. Your future self will thank you. Now, if you really want to take this to the next level, there's one more thing you need to understand about relationships. See, even after you fix your jealousy, most guys make a critical mistake that sabotages their relationships in a completely different way. They become so focused on not being jealous that they ignore the actual relationship dynamics that matter. I break down exactly what those dynamics are and how to get them right in my next video. It's called the 3 relationship demands that kill attraction and what to do instead. Click on it right now, because fixing jealousy is step 1. Building a healthy relationship where you don't need to be jealous? That's step 2. I'll see you there.